Hey guys, welcome back to Every Pokémon Ever. Last time we found all of the Pokémon in the Let's Find Gold, Silver, and Crystal books, and one page had me reminiscing about something peculiar. It's no secret by now that shiny Pokémon exist in the wild, but why they exist is something still being researched. 1 year ago, when I came face to face with the mighty Red Gyarados, I had the notion that Team Rocket had done something to cause this Pokémon to be so fierce and full of rage, and after storming their hideout, it turns out I was right. Laser beaming a high-frequency radio wave at your head will do that to you. Going back further in our timeline to just after Giovanni's downfall, you remember that, right? The disbanded Team Rocket continued its vision of seeking out the most rare and powerful Pokémon. They determined that by stealing and mistreating Pokémon, they could seal off their hearts to darkness and unleash powerful and destructive moves through forced evolution. While not morally sound, their experiments did yield results, as more and more quote-unquote dark Pokémon were starting to appear. Not dark the type, dark the personality. It wasn't until last year, however, that they made one invention that would change the game. They were able to broadcast a unique radio signal to jumpstart the forced evolution of Pokémon, and they tested their invention at the Lake of Rage. And that brings us their biggest success story, the shiny Red Gyarados. A genetic mutation caused it to be a different color, or shiny Pokémon, making it super rare and valuable. Of course, Team Rocket also tried to coax Giovanni to come back and help them reignite their ambitions, but thanks to me, they didn't stand a chance, and the Rocket Gang fell for what is hopefully the final time. It turns out several members actually fled to TCG Island and started a crime syndicate under an evil wizard, but for the most part, they were done. But then I accidentally missed that neon green Zubat while spelunking in the Whirl Islands, and my gears started turning. How did this genetic mutation work? It obviously wasn't because of the radio signal. I'd be willing to bet that Red Gyarados was just a golden Magikarp that had been forced to evolve, causing it to become enraged. That's because shiny Pokémon are variants that have specific DVs or determinate values. These values, while hidden from the Pokédex, can be calculated using mathematical formulas. If a Pokémon has a defense, speed, and special DV of 10, accompanied by an attack DV of 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, 11, 14, or 15, it will be shiny. We can take a look at our Red Gyarados stats to see, one moment please, that this definitely checks out. You might think with all those attack DV combinations you probably have a good chance of finding a shiny Pokemon. Well, unfortunately, the math works out to a measly 1 in 8,192 chance for these exact DV combinations, making my shiny Zubat fumble even more depressing. So what's the best way to hunt a specific shiny Pokemon? You can get out there and walk around, but finding a specific species at 1 in 8,192 chances could take days or even weeks with no guarantee you'll ever come across one. There must be an easier way. Breeding comes to mind. After all, you'll remember that the odd egg given to us by the daycare man on Route 34 had a 14% chance to be shiny, but the pool of Pokemon is limited. Also, the Japanese Crystal exclusive odd egg had an amazing 50% chance to be shiny. Granted, you needed to trade in an egg ticket at the PCC using a mobile adapter GB peripheral, something not everyone can reasonably do. So if you want something other than a slightly pink Rasmuchum, you can breed one shiny parent with a non-shiny parent to have 1 in 128 odds of having a shiny baby. And that's genetics, ladies and gentlemen. Very rarely this can be a 1 in 64, but generally it's 1 in 128. This is caused by a shiny parent's DVs being passed along genetically. However, it does get rather complicated to move across a trail of egg groups using our Red Gyarados, as the female Pokemon always determines a Pokemon species type. Also, two shiny Pokemon cannot breed together because Pokemon in the same DV pool will never lay an egg. Further complications with the gender ratio of eggs not amounting to the needed shiny DVs cause some species to be unobtainable as a shiny through this method. Another example of this is Unknown, where the only forms able to attain the correct DVs are Unknown I and V, which is very ironic. Don't lose hope though. These odds can be improved to a permanent 1 in 64 chance with some unique scenarios, such as when you breed a Pokemon with a shiny Ditto. Where can you get a shiny Ditto, do you ask? Well, you either have to painstakingly shiny hunt a Ditto at full odds, boring, or you can try to trick a Ditto into becoming a shiny. You see, if a Ditto uses the move Transform twice in a battle, a glitch occurs where it will assume the DVs of your Pokemon permanently, which means if you have a shiny, Ditto will become shiny. But how can a Ditto transform twice in a battle? There are two main ways. Like I said before, in Crystal you get an odd egg, which if you happen to hatch a shiny Cleffa, you could level it up into a Clefairy to learn Metronome at level 34, if you wanted. You would then have to run into a Ditto and hope that after it transforms into your Clefairy the first time, that it happens to use Transform a second time via its newly acquired Metronome attack. Yeah, with 251 total moves to randomly choose from for Metronome, the RNG is not on your side with this one. However, there's another way we can exploit this transform glitch, but it's going to take a little more work. Because we're going to get our Ditto from Kanto. No big deal, right? We'll just hop on the magnet train? Nope! I mean Kanto from 3 years ago. So let's head over to the Pokemon Center and shove a Red Gyarados in Bill's time capsule. I know Back to the Future said you aren't supposed to mess with your own timeline, but we need to call on an old friend.
Future guy! Hey! Hey! You got a new shirt!
Huh, yeah, you did too! I love that one. Hey listen, I need your help with something. Did you ever get the last 5 Pokemon you needed? Huh? Oh! Yeah, I did. Good. Hey, so listen, I need to trade over a shiny, special Gyarados to this place, this time, no questions asked. Can you help me out? Unless you're busy. I mean, not really. Professor Oak asked me to come to a place called Puzzle Village to try this game out. Oh, yeah, you have time then. Yeah, let's go. Thanks to my past self, I was able to get my shiny Gyarados transported to the past. You will notice that the DVs in this game don't allow you to see that Pokemon as shiny in your Pokédex, but trust me, it is. Now we need to do one more thing before hunting for a wild Ditto. We have to teach Gyarados the move Mimic. TM31, or Mimic, was something I received in exchange for bringing a Pokédoll to a little girl in Saffron City known as Copycat. Of course, in our later adventures, she would lose that Pokédoll, so we had to go get it back. Fun times. But after getting Mimic, we can teach it to our Gyarados to begin the hunt for a wild Ditto. If we use Mimic, not only will Ditto transform into our Pokemon, but it can use Transform twice, permanently changing its DVs to Shiny mode. All that's left to do is catch it and send it back to the future, Marty. And then you just send the Pokemon back to me. Thanks for everything. Always happy to help. Hey, I know we're not supposed to do this really, but Brandon and I just hit a rough patch. Do we ever work things out? Well, you'll see him again. And at first things are a little rocky, but then eventually, you actually become friends. Really? Keep your chin up. Have fun in Puzzle Village, and watch out for that spa service. See you later. See you later. Oh, I get it. Now that we're back in the future, let's go over to the time capsule to see. There it is. Ditto is shiny, just like Gyarados. Now we can breed this bad boy to have a 1 out of 64 chance of getting shiny babies. Almost every Pokemon in the game. That's better. If you don't mind the long wait for your eggs to hatch. By plugging back into Stadium 2, we can load up our Dodrio Game Boy to make this process go a little faster. Not only that, but you can also determine which eggs contain shiny Pokemon before they even hatch. Stadium 2 has some odd-colored Pokemon at times. Looking at you, Goldbony! The color mechanics in this game work on a scale catered to your trainer name and the nickname of your Pokemon, causing some odd-colored but not shiny Pokemon at times. But this color change in the game doesn't apply to shiny Pokemon, which will have the same color all the time no matter what a Pokemon is named. And since Stadium 2 treats all eggs with these same rules, thinking of them as Pokemon that are nicknamed Egg, you can most of the time see a direct difference in the hues of your normal Pokemon eggs and your shiny eggs. So after hand-picking out the shiny eggs to hatch, and making the rest into a breakfast omelet, we now have possibly the easiest method to get shiny Pokemon. Well, only second to the coin case glitch we covered, where you gather an incredible list of random items, do a funny dance outside, and rename Box 9 to gibberish. With that method, you can instantly transform the DVs of any Pokemon to be shiny in seconds, the PETA-approved way, free of animal cruelty, torture, or weird radio signals. But not everyone will have the patience and determination to set that up. I hope you all enjoyed this dive into the shiny mechanics of Pokemon. It's exciting to see where this research will take us as we advance on our journey. Stay awesome out there, and I'll see you next time, Pokemon fans. Bye!